How's it going on American Bob? I took me a shower, washed my hair, I shaved, and I shave in the shower. Let me show you something, guys. You can look. The only time that you really need to do it really short, where it's skin smooth, is when you're up against a woman's face or in between her legs. She doesn't like to be chafed. So either have a beard or do like me. I can shave in the shower. It's no big deal. I'm not going to be doing anything with the females. I want to tell you a little bit about Robert Milton Crozier Sr. And his daddy, Robert Crozier. Now, his daddy, my dad's dad, was a male secretary. Now, understand something, guys. A male secretary at this time was the owner's right-hand man. He can leave and go on vacation. He's going to be doing what? Running the business. His dad was making good money. Okay. And the whole thing is back then they had horse and carriage. So it had, I don't know why he did this. I mean, I know about horses. I do. You don't get a young spirited mare and put it on. No, you just don't do it. You don't do it. But I think what he likes, and men are that way. They like speed. Yeah, let's go, boy. There, yeah. And the thing about it is that it flipped, and his dad went kaboom and hit a rock, and his head it was a mess. He was dead before they even got him to the hospital. He was dead. And it's sad that my dad had to lose his dad. I think my dad would have been a different man. It's sad the way life is. Okay, so Edith, is it Edith or Ruth? I don't know what his blasted wife is now. I had all this documented. That's how I learned about it. This woman was extremely depressed. She had extreme clinical depression. She was a blubbering mess. A blubbering mess. Let me tell you, women are good about what they do. And she started rubbing up against a Methodist preacher. He liked her. She was a sweet girl. So they get married. This Methodist preacher, I like to have met him. Bam! I like to just get my fist and slamming it in his head, man. This guy was a trip. Kids are to be seen. Children are to be seen but not heard. Period. Do you understand me? And I'm like, damn. Can you imagine being a child and you can't speak? And if an adult comes up and goes, "Did you brush your teeth?" "Yes, sir, I did." "And did you brush them for how long?" "2 minutes." "Thank you." That's it. She can't say any more back. The kids ate at a separate table. They were not to talk at all while they ate. The only time they're allowed to talk is when they go back to their individual rooms or come to visit. They can talk to each other. You cannot talk to an adult unless an adult talks to you. Strict upbringing. My dad, I think, had a warped sense of being trained by a man, supposedly his stepfather. So my dad had something going on with his brain. My dad, and back then, you can look at Dale Carnegie, there were a lot of people selling. Selling was the thing to do. That's how you made your goal, is to sell. So my daddy was a salesperson. And the way I understand it from Doris, Edith was his wife. Doris, that he was quite good at what he did. He was a good salesperson. And I believe her. I think my dad did real well, and he did. My dad got married to an extremely beautiful woman. I'll tell you how I found out about her when I was, God, what, 5 maybe? I just decided I wanted to go into my mother and dad's bedroom and start going through some boxes. And I found this woman. I thought, what a pretty lady. He comes walking in the bedroom. He says, "Put that back down and put that box back where it belongs. You understand me?" "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." "You're never to see that again. And it's none of your business and none of your concern, boy." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." You know, let me tell you what happened. My dad, up in Vermont, and they're Adirondacks and the mountains, Adirondacks and the mountains there in New York and all that, right in that little area there, enmeshed. He married this girl, and his life had begun. Now, you got to understand something. You got to see a man that is really doing well in selling. I don't know if he's selling advertising. I'm not sure what he was selling. He was just a salesman. A salesman is a salesman. He just sells anything. Okay. And let me do this. I don't think anybody's on for me to worry about. No. Okay. Somehow or another, his wife came down with some kind of disease or something. Anyway, she dies. I think that Robert's heart was broken so much that he had to leave. He did not go to her funeral at all. I think it crushed my father. So let me tell you what he did. He was working at a radio station there in Vermont, Maryland, you know how it works there. They all kind of blend together. I think he kept talking about the Adirondacks. He said, "You got to see it. It will take your breath away." And I believe him. I do. So, check it out, guys. His wife dies. I don't know if she was in a wreck. I don't know how she died. It's been a long time ago. He decided he wanted to come to Charlotte, North Carolina, and he was going to sell radio advertising for WIST, AM radio. And you got to remember, there was no FM, all AM radio. His problem was that he was a Yankee boy, and he spoke like a Yankee. He goes and starts making his calls. That's what advertising people do. You just sort of go in and ask them, about their advertising. What do you do? How do you advertise? "I advertise in a newspaper. It works pretty good to me." Say, "Yeah, but let me tell you how many listeners we have on our radio station and what we can do for you. I'm going to do a complimentary advertising spot for you to listen to. And I'm going to run it one time for you because I like you." That's how you do it. And he just sits there and he goes, "Thank you. I appreciate that a lot." So I'm with WIST. Tune your radio and listen to it. And I'll give you the time that spot's going to run. Yeah. Guess what he does? I'm excited. I'm going to turn the radio on. We're going to listen to that. So now you got him listening to your radio and you play his spot. He's like going, "Hey, that's my place. Yeah, man, that's my place." And guess what? You call them up and say, "Did you like it?" "Yeah, man, I really did. I really did. You mind if I come back over and chat with you? Maybe take you to lunch?" "Not a problem. Yeah." Okay. So you're taking him to lunch and greasing him and greasing him. You're his friend. You're going to help his business grow. And then you say, "We've got a deal right now on 25 run on schedule commercials, spots on our station. Are you interested? It'll only be this amount. We'll try it and see how it works for you. And would you like to write some stuff down for me to put in it for you, the spot?" So you're giving him control, the money he's giving you. You're giving him control. That's what he wants, control. So you've got a potential guy that's going to be advertising on your radio station. It's that easy. It's not hard to sell advertising at all. It's easy stuff, easy money. My dad went into a business and he starts talking to him. "Where are you from?" Up Vermont, up around New York and Adirondacks and around that little area there. "You're not from here, huh? You're not from the South, are you?" And they laughed at him. Can you imagine how my dad felt? They laughed at him. And here's a man that was a pillar stone where he lived. He was a good salesman. He made good money from it. And his beautiful wife loved him. And they were going to have a life together. So my dad's struggling. But let me tell you about my dad. My dad got to know people. He was thinking. I never said my dad was stupid. He was thinking. So he talked to Mr. Pound, a pound and more. That was huge. I think he knew the Belks. He got to know people. And you see, what you do is you act. You act a certain way because you have to be around these very influential people. You have to be a different person. And my dad was good at that. He was a chameleon. He knew how to talk gab, and he did. So my dad really was good. Just like his cousin said, Doris said, "Your father was fine. He was a good man." I believe that. I believe he was a good man. But weird stuff happens. My dad met my mom. Now, when my mom was younger, let me tell you what, a vagina, a cute butt, and some cute little breasts and a smile, that's what my dad was looking for because he was, you gotta understand, my dad had looks. He was a fine looking man. Tiny man, but a fine looking man. And he knew how to talk to a woman. Well, he gets my mother pregnant with my sister out of wedlock. You know he's pissed off. Why is it the guys can't wear condoms? You want me to tell you why? Because we're stupid. We have to feel it to be able to enjoy it. So my mom gets pregnant with my sister Millie. My sister's born. My sister never knew this until much later on when we were figuring out when they got married when she was born. Woo! So I wasn't thought about, and I often wonder what would have happened in my life if I hadn't been thought about. I wouldn't be sitting here at 70 right now telling you all this crap. I would not be here at all. It wouldn't be a bad deal when you think about it. Can you imagine just not ever being born? You just weren't thought about. So you're history. You're zero. You have never existed. I think that fascinates me. It really does. My mother wanted a son. Why? I've often wondered that. Why? Why did you want a son? And how did you know I was going to be a son and not a daughter? Weird stuff about this never made sense to me. My sister's dead. I wish she's still alive because I would ask her that question. I still wonder if I am, in fact, their biological child. I often wondered that. Was I really born from my mother out of her, you know what? Or did they adopt me? I never knew. I still am trying to figure it out, but supposedly I found my birth certificate and where I was born. Weird stuff, weird stuff. But my mother always wanted a boy, and somehow or another tricked my dad into that. And he did. Let me see what this is. This is somebody else talking on something. What is this? Let's see this. Yeah. So anyway, back to my story, guys. I got messed up as a kid. I can't tell what it is. I don't know if it's the hit on the head. I don't know if it was something when I was born. I don't know anything about myself, but I'm like night and day different from my sister Millie. Millie was brilliant. She would read 5 books in one day. 5 books in one day. How do you do that? My sister wrote a book, and you can't buy it. You had to find out who did it, and write them. It's not like in a bookstore, but she wrote a book. Brilliant girl, aced everything. I mean, all through elementary school, all the way through Christian high school, all the way through UNC Charlotte. Straight A's. Never made nothing below an A. And me, I'm born. I go to Mary Oaks Elementary School, and that's when my dad comes through the door. You're a retard, boy. You are a retard. Retardation. Yes, indeed. You're stupid. You'll never amount to anything because you can't even think right. He just drilled into my ass. And I was like sitting there going, what in the heck is going on? Because I didn't know. I don't know who all that is. I didn't know, to be honest with you. And I didn't. So I was getting bombarded by my father, basically ashamed of his retardation son. My testing was bad. They gave me an IQ test. It was low, low. Man, my dad's very disappointed in his son, his stupid, ignorant son. They'll never amount to nothing in life. I really resented my father. But then when I started learning more about him and I was in his shoes, I started to also say the same things to me. What a disappointment I was to my father. I can't even think about that. I've had a strange life, and I have. I've had a strange life. I'm good at selling. I'm very good at it. But I always have that in the back of my brain. You're a loser. You always will be. You're disabled, but who cares? No girls ever did. And guys, exactly what I told my dad, and I did. This is what I told my dad. or not my dad, but I don't remember who I was telling this to. Oh, doctor. I have my father in me, if indeed that was him. Robert Milton Crozier. I'm junior, he's senior, and his daddy was Robert Crozier. My dad had no energy at all. He spent all his time sitting down in a chair, watching TV, reading magazines, and napping. I'm just like him. I have no energy at all. None. Period. I don't. You know, and I'm just not doing well physically at all. Period. Now, I'm going to end this to say that, like my father, I understand sales, and I do. The only thing is that I am classified as retardation. And I am actually. You know, I can talk and you can go, God, no, huh, the way you talk and act, you got to be intelligent. I'm not. I'm not intelligent at all. You know, and I've got to figure out things. That's why on the 22nd, I'm going to talk to my doctor and tell her, look, I would like to try to make it to 80. That would be nice. At least I'd have 10 more years. But my father, like I said, I resented him. I hated him. Now, when he died, I really didn't care. I really didn't. You know, if you got a man that's never loved you, why should you love him back? I never did. You know, I remember a lady, I was, I did stuff to take my brain away from everybody. I had a little record player, boom, 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 like that. And it had its needle and put thing in there and drop it. I got a speaker and connected to the back, and I put it in a cardboard box. Now you got to understand this is mono, so it's just sound, no stereo. So it worked pretty well. And I was listening to the Beach Boys, some Motown, uh, all kinds of music, you know. And my dad died or something. I don't remember. You know how people bring food over and all that. That's the end thing to do. You know, in the South we do that. I don't know if they do it up north, but if somebody dies, they bring so much freaking food. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff. I mean, we had cakes and we had meat, we had roast, and we had pork and chops, and we had everything. You name it, barbecue. I was playing music, and they came in and took the needle off the record. They said, "You shouldn't be doing that. You should respect your father that died." I looked at her and I said, "I don't respect that guy at all." What the hell are you talking about? Why should I respect my father? He was an asshole. That's all he was, a walking asshole. You know, and that woman was going, told my mother. My mother walked in and said, Bobby, you got to behave now. You got to be nicer to the people. But guys, I'm just like my father, and I am. He was lethargic. The man couldn't even walk up the sidewalk 2 or 3 feet, come back. So that's what I'm talking about in this vlog. You know, that I have a crazy life, and I really do. And the reason why I never amounted to anything, because I have a major disability of learning. Okay. And I had to learn how to be able to get through on learning specific things. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. Um, I spend most of my time lethargic, and I don't do much of nothing. So I've got a lot of things to do. I've got to change my diet, get away from greasy food, and I'm working on that. I'm working on that. So that's basically it, guys. I've had a really rosy, fun life. But you got to understand that other people out there, man, have had worse lives than mine. You know, but I wish things would have been different. Let me tell you something about a female. A female can always latch onto a man. A man can always latch onto a female. You know, my sister got married 5 times. 5 times. I hope this is still on. I don't think it is. I think it died. Let me go ahead and end this. Peace.